Welcome to the Wonder Space Show with Miss Natalie.
In a place you want to discover, there's so much to uncover. Are you an explorer? Yes! Then join us on an adventure. All you need to do is
Look closely, think carefully.
solve many problems.
Wait, that's not all.
We are the Wonder Space Explorers. We create things big or small and beautiful. We are WONDERFUL. We are wonderful.
La 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 la.
Wonder Space.
Oh, hello. I was just trying to decide, should I have jollof or wache for lunch? I like them both. What should I do? What's your favorite meal? Wonder Space Explorers, what's the main ingredient in both these meals? That's right, rice! What other rice dishes do you know? Depending on the country you're in, rice may be cooked differently. Rice, this is uncooked rice, forms a large part of our meals in Ghana. What about where you live? Do you eat a lot of rice? Rice is eaten in countries all over the world. Wonder Space Explorers, have you ever asked yourself this question? Where does food come from? Where does rice come from? And how does rice grow? Rice is known as a cereal or grain. A cereal is a plant, a grass-like plant, that produces grain for food. Most of the rice that we eat all over the world is grown in Asia. Asia has been growing rice for thousands of years, but rice also grows in Ghana. The main rice growing areas in Ghana include the Volta region, Upper West, and Upper East regions. Wonder Space Explorers, I have a little surprise for you. We're going to visit a real rice or paddy farm. This farm is known as Agro Kings and it's in Akuse. Are you ready to visit the rice farm? Let's go on our adventure. Rice! Wonder Space Explorers, can you guess where we are? We are all the way in Akuse at a rice farm where they grow rice. We're going to learn how they grow rice. We're going to see rice growing. So we have an amazing tour guide, Mr. Daniel, but on the farm, he's known as Mr. Cashew. Why do they call you Mr. Cashew?
Well, I used to be a cashew farmer.
Oh, he used
Most
to
people
be
don't believe.
a cashew farmer. Do you know what cashew is? Anyway, Mr. Daniel, Mr. Cashew, is going to show us around this amazing rice farm known as Agro Kings. Let's go. Wonder Space Explorers, the farm is so big that I need a little help. So they got me a tricycle so that we can tour the farm. Let's go and see the rice growing. Come on. Wonder Space Explorers, rice needs a lot of water to grow, like a lot. Behind me, it looks like it's flooded, but it's not. If you look closer, you can see channels of water. These are known as irrigation systems, and the water is pumped from a water source all the way here so that the rice can grow in lots and lots of water. So if you look closely, you can see some raised beds. It looks like soil that's been piled up. These were made intentionally by the farmer to make sure that the water stays in one place. The rice plant starts growing in a nursery paddy field. After a few weeks, the seedlings are transplanted to a larger field. And this helps the rice to grow and grow and grow. They add things like fertilizer to help the rice grow even more. And then 3 to 4 months later, the rice is ready for harvest. But they have to drain all the water away again before they're able to do that. So rice needs what? A lot of water, as you can see. Behind me is a beautiful landscape. Doesn't it look lovely? Now, what looks like grass, it looks like grass, doesn't it? It's actually rice growing. What do we say? Rice belongs to the grass family. So it actually really does look like grass, but it's rice that's growing. I'm walking on the raised beds, which are known as ponds. There's water to my left and water to my right. The water channel is to my right. And we have the ponds where the rice is supposed to grow on this side. I hope I don't fall in. Can you see the really cool tractor behind me? This tractor has some serious blades. Can you see those sharp blades? That's done so that the tractor doesn't get stuck in all the mud. And behind, they've got some blades as well to break up the soil even more. It's really important that they break up the soil. I'm getting on the tractor. Wish me luck. I'm a farmer now on the Space Explorers. Wonder Space Explorers, have you ever wondered what fully grown rice looks like? This. You have the blades of grass, you have the stalk, but you have the most important part, which is the grain. Can you see all the grains? It looks so cool. This is rice. This is how rice grows. I'm going to pull some off. Ooh. I'm getting some grains in my palm. All right, so these grains are known as paddy. And later we'll see how this goes from this to the rice that we find on our table. And behind me, you can see acres and acres and acres of rice being grown, about 25 acres. That's so much rice. All this is rice. And guess what? Mr. Cashew said they are harvesting the rice tomorrow. So we saw the rice just before it got harvested. Let me pull some more grains off. Wow! If you look really carefully, you can see a thin layer of net covering the rice. Why? This is to keep the birds away because the birds like to eat the grains. And Mr. Cashew said that some of the grains are actually milky before it's ready. So they like to feed on the milky rice grains. Sounds yummy, so they have to protect it from the birds, and that's why there's the netting all the way down. That must be a huge stretch of netting. Let's go and see what the rice looks like after this step. Come on. Remember that we said that they were going to harvest the fully grown rice. Well, the machine behind me is what they use to harvest the rice, and it's called a combined harvester. So the front here, you can see this intense machinery. This is how they harvest the rice. So this machine is able to harvest the rice by pulling it out, cutting off the stalks, separating the grains, and then the grains get poured out into bags. Come and let me show you where the grains pour out from. So the grains you saw in my palm, those are separated from the stalk and the blades. And the grains will come out of here and there'll be a big bag and it fills up the bag with grains of rice. Behind me, we have bags and bags of rice. Grains that have been separated by the combined harvester. So remember, the grains or the paddy is separated and we have the bags full of rice. So these grains of rice or paddy has to go through a milling process. If you can see really carefully, it still has the husks. So the husks are still covering each grain. So when it goes through a milling process, they take off the first layer, which is the husk, and then in the polishing process, they take off the second layer, which is the bran. And then that's how we get the white rice on our tables. And we can make jollof and watch it. That was amazing! We learned so much about how rice grows and how rice is processed or milled. I hope you learned a lot too. I had so much fun. I had a lot of fun riding that tractor. I brought some rice back from the farm and it's so cool to see the grains. It's dried a little more so they are falling off much easier. Over here, we have the grains drooping down. This part of the rice is known as the flowering part or the panicle, and that's where the grains are formed. I'm just going to pull off some more grains. Ooh. What were some of the interesting things for you on the farm? For me, I thought it was amazing that it actually looks like grass. Remember that we said that rice belongs to the grass family? When it was growing, it really did look like grass. Now, with a fully grown rice plant here, that means I actually have seeds. These grains also act as rice seeds. Should I grow some rice? What do I need to do to grow rice? What steps do I need to take? Can you help me? That's right, I need lots and lots and lots of water. But do I have enough water to be able to grow rice? We need to soak the rice seeds. Then we need to plant the rice seeds. At the farm, they planted the rice seeds in a rice or paddy nursery. Then, when it grew for about a month, they would transplant it to the bigger rice or paddy field that was filled with water. The rice grows and grows and grows, and then afterwards they drain the water. And then the rice grows and grows some more until you have a fully grown rice plant like this. I think I'll leave the rice growing to the professionals. Wonder Space Explorers, what can we make with rice? That's right, we talked about jollof and wache earlier, but what else? We have rice balls, which is known as amutio in Ghana. You can also make rice porridge, fried rice, or a spicy rice drink known as lamuji. There are other interesting uses of rice. The parts of the plant that we don't eat can be used for things like rice fabric, fertilizer, fuel, baskets, mats, and more. Let's talk a little more about rice fabric. What is that? The stems of the rice plant are used to create the fabric because of the fiber. At the Agro Kings farm that we visited, some parts of the rice plants are used to feed the animals. It's known as livestock feed. Now that part is specifically the bran layer that covers the rice, and that's removed during the milling process. Some parts of the rice plant are also used as fuel to power the generators and pumps. That's really amazing, so nothing goes to waste. Wonder Space Explorers, on my table, I have two types of rice. I have white rice and I have brown rice. Do you ever eat brown rice? Brown rice is said to have lots and lots of nutrients. After harvesting the rice, farmers need to make sure that the rice is dry. They might dry it in the sun or in special machines. When that's done, it goes through the milling process. Remember, we talked about the milling process? And what happens is they take off the husk. When they take off the husk, you get brown rice. Now, brown rice has the bran layers around it. When they take off that bran layer and polish it, that's when we get white rice. Wonder Space Explorers, can you guess what time it is? That's right, it's time for our activity. What are we going to do today? You are going to grow something. Do you think you can grow some rice? Well, that might be a little difficult, so I picked something else that might be easier to grow at home. You're going to grow some beans. Are you ready to grow some beans? What you need will be some beans. You can get some different colored beans. You're going to need paper towels and a Ziploc bag, or you can have cotton wool and a plastic container. So for this activity, you're going to be learning to grow as well as take care of your plant. What do farmers do? They grow things and they take care of plants, and then we have some food. So as you're growing your bean plant, you're learning some skills of a farmer. Before we start having fun planting, I want us to talk about two things: the parts of a bean and how the bean plant grows. Now, the bean has three parts that we're going to talk about: the seed coat that protects the seed, the embryo, which is the baby plant inside. We also have the cotyledon, which stores the plant's food. So what are the three parts? The seed coat, the embryo, and the cotyledon. Three parts of the bean. Now, how does it grow? What do plants need to grow, or what do seeds need to start growing? We're going to learn a new term: germinate. That's a process by which a seed begins to grow or sprout. What do plants need to start growing? Can you help me, Wonder Space Explorers? That's right, light, the right temperature, water, and some soil. For this activity, we're going to start the process without soil because we're going to be using our paper towels or cotton wool, but we'll still have our water, light, and the right temperature. Are you ready to start? Let's go! Okay, so I'm going to show you two methods that you can use. The first one, you're going to need a paper towel and a Ziploc bag. If you want the beans to sprout very quickly, you can always soak the beans in some water the night before. So first, you need to make your paper towel damp. I'm just going to spray some water on there. You take your beans and space your beans out. Space it out. Space. Okay. All you need to do, when you finish placing your beans down, cover that over with the other side of the paper towel. Seal that up. Okay. You can fold the ends so the beans don't fall out. You can slide it into your Ziploc bag. Now remember, the bean at this stage needs what? It needs light, water, and the right temperature. So when you seal your bag, you can put this near a window. All right, so I tried this experiment and I was so excited because in just 2 days, I saw some results. If you look very carefully, you can see exactly what we talked about. The seeds are starting to germinate or sprout. Now what's happened? The seed coat is beginning to split and the root is beginning to form. How cool! Can you see? Let me put it on the black part so that you can see. So the seed coat splits and the root is beginning to form. We have different varieties here. Let me put them here so you can see. I'm so excited because if you monitor it yourself, when you try this at home, I want you to look carefully, check it daily, and see, when does a seed coat start to split? When does the root start to form? For me, it took just 2 days. In 2 days, you will see results. Now, the other method you can use is you can get an old bottle and you can cut. So you have a little plastic jar. And then, if you have some cotton wool, you can place the cotton wool in the plastic cup. All right, you can fill it up a little more. And then, once again, you need to make the cotton wool damp. And then when you have that, remember you'll have a lot more cotton wool in there. You can place your seeds. Remember to space it out so that they have room to start sprouting or germinating. So 2 days ago, I tried the other method as well, where we use the plastic cups and cotton wool. Okay, and look, it's growing already. We can see the seeds germinating. It's sprouting even more than the ones on the paper towel. If you do use the cotton wool method, you want to make sure that you are very gentle when you're taking the seeds off the cotton wool, because the root that's beginning to form is attached to the cotton wool. So it doesn't matter if you take some of the cotton wool with you, okay? So let me show you. I'm so excited. They've all grown. See, the cotton wool is coming with me. It's really exciting seeing the process of germination. I want to show you something. You have to be looking really closely. You can see the tiny leaves in there. Can you see it? Come closer. When I open it up, you can see the baby plants, the embryo that will grow upwards and be the shoots. Wow. So now I'm going to move the seeds from our cotton wool and cup or paper towel and Ziploc bag, and I'm going to plant them in some soil. We need to space them out to make sure that it grows. Wonder Space Explorers, I hope that you are excited to plant your own beans. There's some things that I want you to pay attention to when you start the process, either in the plastic cup with cotton or glass jar with cotton, or you use the paper towels with a Ziploc bag. I want you to look carefully to see how the seed begins to sprout or germinate. How long will it take the seed to sprout or germinate? I also want you to pay attention to how much it grows each day. And then lastly, I want you to check out what part of the plant appears first. Remember, when a seed begins to sprout or germinates, the seed coat splits and then pew, a little root sticks out which continues to grow. And then soon you'll be able to transfer your seeds from the cotton wool or the paper towel into some soil. What should I do with these? That's right, I should put it near some light. And what should I do? I should water it regularly. I can't wait to see what your bean plant will look like. I'm excited and I can't wait to see these plants grow. Wonder Space Explorers, I finally decided what I wanted to have for lunch. Jollof! All our talk about rice got me really hungry, and I'm really excited to dig into this plate of jollof. But before I do, isn't it amazing that we've seen the plants, the rice plant, grow from the farm in this state to when it's milled and processed to become white rice, packaged in bags, sent to stores. We buy it, cook the rice in different forms, and we have things like jollof. I'm going to have a lovely time. It's delicious. Wonder Space Explorers, let me finish chewing. Always remember, as I say at the end of our lessons, Wonder Space Explorers are wonderful. You are wonderful. Join us next time.